I never thought you'd be such a heartless woman. Are you sure about this? Do you want a divorce? It seems he sees divorce as his trump card. I don't want a man who values only his parents and neglects his wife either. Fine, let's get a divorce. And just so you know, I own this house, so you can get out. What? John began to panic because of my unexpected behavior. But I've decided not to sacrifice myself for people like this anymore. My name is Emily, and I'm 30 years old. I've been married to John for a year and a half. Since our marriage, we've been on 3 family trips with John's parents. I've also traveled with my sister-in-law, called Lisa, and her child. The trips are fine, but the problem is with the payment. Hey, I paid for everyone's trip when booking. When will you, your dad, and mom pay me back? I'll pay you back eventually. Just front it for now. John always leaves the trip bookings and payments to me, and still hasn't paid me back. Neither have his parents. In addition to the unpaid amounts, I have not been able to do any sightseeing at all on the trips. That's another big issue. Start unpacking now and buy the things on this list. We'll go sightseeing first. Okay. Yes, my mother-in-law dumps all the tedious tasks of the trip on me. And of course, neither John nor my father-in-law help me. But I also want to do some sightseeing. I hurriedly finished the tasks that were assigned to me and was about to head out for sightseeing when I'm already tired, let's go back to the hotel. During these trips, I was treated like a servant for John and his parents. So I didn't even get the option to go sightseeing. When I went on a trip with Lisa and her child, I was treated like a servant plus babysitter. I hate this! Lisa's child, who is extremely picky and tantrum prone, threw a plate at me because he found something he doesn't like. As a result, my clothes and belongings got messy. Seeing such a disaster, sister-in-law, what are you doing? Take care of him properly. Lisa, ignoring her child's bad behavior, blamed everything on me. In the end, I couldn't even eat my meal and spent the entire trip looking after Lisa's child. 4 trips in just a year and a half. Paying for everything and being treated like a servant. I'm not paying to get exhausted. So I've decided not to go on any trips in the future. Emily, how about going on a trip during the upcoming long vacation? As the long vacation approached, John, predictably, suggested a trip. However, I'm fully prepared this time. I've scheduled work for almost the entire vacation. I have to work, so I'll pass. You all go on without me. Really? Alright. John reluctantly agreed, and he left for the trip on the first day of the long vacation a few days later. As I had anticipated, this trip seems to have been a disaster. When John returned home, the first thing he did was complain about Lisa. There was no one to pay the bills when I wasn't around and no one to take care of Lisa's child. Naturally, his mother Lisa should take care of him, but she could not resist. Why don't you babysit for her? Me? Why? He's not my son. Have you been thinking like this every time we travel? I never want to be treated as a babysitter again. John seemed hurt by what I said and sulkily went into the bedroom. When John fell asleep early, I received a call from my mother-in-law. This trip was tough because Lisa kept complaining. You must come next time. No, I won't. Huh? Why not? She doesn't seem to understand why I refused. Maybe it's best to spell it out clearly. I also don't like what Lisa dislikes. If you are going to impose unpleasant tasks on me, I won't go. But trips are fun, right? Come with us next time. I won't. After going back and forth with my mother-in-law trying to persuade me, She eventually gave up and ended the call, feeling relieved from the torturous trip. I didn't realize at the time that the situation would change dramatically the next day. "Hey, what did you tell my mom?" After returning from work, John burst into the room, yelling. He must have heard about the call from his mother. "It's our duty to take our elderly parents on a trip and make them happy. Why did you say you won't go? Why do I have to be treated like a servant by you all? I get even more exhausted than my job. Just bear with it. Since they're enjoying it, I'll divorce you." I can't tolerate being burdened while he enjoys with his parents. Frustrated, we had a heated argument. After a while, John sighed. "I never thought you were such a heartless woman. Is this okay with you? We're getting a divorce." It seems he sees divorce as his trump card. I don't want a man who values only his parents and neglects his wife either. Fine, let's get a divorce. Remember, I own this house, so leave. What? Thinking the word divorce would make me apologize? John was taken aback. I packed John's valuables into a bag, handed it to him, and showed him out the door. All the while, he kept shouting, "We're divorcing, and you'll regret this." But I didn't care. The next day, I received an immediate call from my mother-in-law after she heard about what happened. "Don't you have any sense of responsibility as a wife? How dare you throw out the backbone of the family?" Well, I won't be his wife anymore. I'll file for divorce soon. Handling my mother-in-law now felt easier. However, if you're getting divorced, pay up the division of assets. You should pay for our recent trip in full. The problem is these two who are so greedy about money. I didn't cheat on anyone. Since it was John who brought up the divorce, I think he should pay the division of assets. I received a bill for $4,700 for the trip from Lisa. But the amount seems off. It's too much. Until now, I've paid a total of $2,900 for trips. There's no way a single trip could cost $4,700. Furious at their attempt to milk more money from me at this point, I withdrew all the trip expenses from the joint bank account I had with John. I believe the balance was almost zero. A month after kicking out John, I've been receiving emails almost daily like, "Are you sure about the divorce? And you're not going to divorce me, right?" I got tired of replying, so I registered, "We're divorcing, you're paying the division of assets," as a template and send it back each time. Although it's comfortable being alone, it's annoying getting daily messages from my mother-in-law, John, and Lisa. I spent 2 weeks finding a competent lawyer to settle this situation. Hiring a lawyer made me realize John's abnormalities, which I wasn't aware of. 3 months after hiring the lawyer, the divorce was finally finalized. Due to John's nonsensical remarks, the proceedings took this long. "If we're divorcing, I'll expect you to pay the division of assets. You're the one who wants the divorce, so you should pay. Then we don't divorce, and please tell my wife to meet all my parents' conditions. Your wife has rejected that. Then I'll divorce, and she should pay the assets." The conversation apparently went like this, to the point where even the lawyer was exasperated. While the conversation was not progressing in such a state, an event occurred that made me doubt his character. "Hey, this one is broken, so replace it with a new one." "Wait, this is my tablet?" While discussing the divorce in a cafe with 3 of us, as we were leaving, he handed the tablet to me, saying that tablet was something I had been searching for all along. I had been searching for it since it disappeared, and I even asked John about it. He claimed not to know when I asked, but he turned out to be the very thief. Why do you have my tablet? And what do you mean it's broken? I'm the one who used it, so it's mine, right? But it's broken and I'm in trouble, so bring me a new one. I was utterly speechless. Seeing my dismay, the lawyer confronted John for me. Do you realize what you just said? You're aware of what you did, right? He genuinely doesn't understand what he did wrong. Despite being confronted by the lawyer, he seemed to have an attitude of not understanding the issue. Wow, stealing someone's stuff and asking for a new one? Unbelievable. At that moment, the waitress by our side blurted out, "Huh? Perhaps that comment from a completely unrelated person finally made him realize that what he did was indeed theft, a genuine crime. He left the cafe in a hurry, and that night he informed the lawyer he'd divorce. I was always told by my family that everything was Emily's fault, so I assumed I could use anything of hers." He seemingly confided this to the lawyer during the call. My in-laws blaming me for everything is strange, but I think it's also bad for one who's brainwashed. Anyway, the divorce was finalized. Though it was a short period, after a dense 3 months, I finally became free. A month after the divorce, it seems my ex-husband's family planned another trip. It was supposed to be my ex-husband, his parents, Lisa, and her child, a group of 5 in total. On the day of the trip, they excitedly headed to the station only to discover that no one had booked the trip. Blame was quickly passed around, but since they didn't have reservations, they decided to eat out instead. After the meal, everyone got up and seemed to head to pay, but everyone just walked past the counter. A panicked waiter confronted them, but no one attempted to pay, and they apparently got caught trying to dine and dash. It's no surprise the whole family didn't act. After all, I used to handle everything for them. The fact that they couldn't go on their trip or got caught trying to skip out on the bill honestly didn't concern me. Yet the reason I knew all this in detail was, "Hey, are you listening?" "No, I'm not." "Why not? You used to listen to all my stories." Yes, because John would call almost every day and complain about trivial things. "Things were so much better when Emily was around. Without you, our family just doesn't function properly. I really don't understand why we divorced." Once he finished complaining about his family, he'd always mention regretting our divorce. I got so annoyed that I'd hang up without listening. He persistently kept calling, so I contacted my lawyer, who then apparently gave John some guidance. I thought this would finally sever our ties, but I was wrong. 4 months after the divorce was finalized, I got a call from my lawyer telling me that John was engaged. I bet it was his mother desperately looking for his next wife, trying to get another servant like I used to be. I simply responded with, "Okay," to my lawyer and tried to forget about him and his family. 2 more months later, John contacted me at my company email address. My fiancé called off the engagement. She said, "You know the reason why." What does that mean? Were you and my fiancé conspiring against me? I couldn't grasp the meaning immediately. I didn't know the fiancé, and if I did, I'd have heard about it. What are you talking about? Explain in detail. When she broke off the engagement, she said she understood why my previous wife left me. She also said to reflect on the past reasons. That's when it clicked. Facing the unchanged behavior of John's family, the fiancé probably realized why he got divorced in the first place. She had advised him to reflect on the reasons for his past divorce, but for some reason, John interpreted it as if I knew the reason for the broken engagement. Why did she break the engagement? What was the reason? It's because of you and your parents treating her like a servant, you idiot. I would have told them over the phone, but I don't care anymore. Text is just fine. After sending a rather harsh message, I blocked his email. I later asked my lawyer to get a restraining order and demand division of assets. 3 months have passed since then. I haven't heard from John or his parents. I even got the division of assets. If he violates the restraining order, he'll be arrested. Considering he was once caught for dining and dashing, he'd probably want to avoid that. And so, I regained my peaceful life. Every day is now comfortable without being unfairly treated by anyone. I'm wary of marriage, but I hope to meet someone kind who would cherish me and protect me from in-laws.